4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, everyone. We arrived at the evening part of the Global Empowerment Summit, and I'm again having an amazing guest who is coming for the second time this year because I wanted to give you an update about what's happening with her French adventure. And before we start our conversation, please don't forget that the treasure hunt is going on. You have the QR code on the top of the screen. So please, if you would like to play, if you would like to win, and you would like to learn with us, just make sure you have a free ticket, go and scan the QR code, and then give us feedbacks, aha moments, little photos, reach out to the speakers and earn points with those. Even on replays, you can earn points, and we will announce the winners on the 31st of December. So we are here with Elmery. Elmery, how have you been in the last 2 weeks? What has happened around your French adventure?
Oh, it's been, hi, thank you for inviting me again. A lot of things have happened over the last 2 weeks. Sometimes it feels a bit overwhelming, but as you know, I purchased 2 properties here in Sille-Guillaume. It's a small town near Le Mans, an amazing, amazing place, and a lot of developments that will happen in this town in the near future. So always a great investment for you if you are looking for some place to settle in Europe. I can really recommend it. So what have I done over the last 2 weeks? Well, I bought a second-hand car, lovely car at an auction. That's my first experience to buy a car at an auction. And it's just amazing. It's a Mercedes, second-hand Mercedes, and it goes like a dream. So I'm very, very lucky. Had to register the car, get insurance, open bank accounts. I now have a business bank account, and I'm just waiting for the registration of my business account to go through. And what else? Oh, we had they call it in France a brocante. It's like a market in the town, and all the small towns around have their brocante once a year. And this is where people bring everything that they want to sell from their houses. You know, you could buy literally anything. And there were hundreds of vendors from all over. And so many people came to visit our town. And it was just such fun. So I bought, of course, a lot of things. And you can pick up wonderful bargains for as little as €1. There's also a huge second-hand market, and I can really recommend that because clothing especially is one of the biggest pollutants in the world, right? So it's one of the biggest problems that we are facing. And I don't think you should pull up your nose when you know about wearing secondhand clothing or passing things on that you don't want to wear anymore. Having lived in warm climates, 10 years in the desert in the UAE and almost 11 years in Malaysia, I don't have much in terms of warm clothes, except for when I bought for holidays in Europe. And oh, you should see, I got the most beautiful coats for €1 and boots and you know, so it's that's been an adventure. And yeah, so furthermore, I'm just working in my house. I've been stripping wallpaper, fixing walls, painting. I think my hands are, in the mornings, I'm struggling to open my hands from holding the paintbrush. So this is when you also realize that you've lived a bit of a coddled life, because here, if you want to have something done, you must do it yourself, right? So You must throw out the rubbish yourself, take it to the recyclery or to the dump. You have to, it's not like in Malaysia or in the UAE where there's a lot of labor available. So it's good for the health, though. I think I'm losing weight and I'm gaining muscles, and so it's been a lot of fun, Andrea.
So nice to hear from you again. If the people haven't heard about Elmery, then please visit back the previous video when she's explaining about her French adventure and finding something beautiful in France and restarting her life. Why do you think it's important for time to time to restart and you rethink how you live your life, Elmery? Why do you think it can be refreshing?
It's I think some people live on this trajectory of, okay, I get married, this age we get married, and then we have our kids, and then when we approach 60, we are on the retirement pathway, and sort of, okay, our lives come to an end. And I've just always had such a different view. For me, it just keeps on going up and up and up, and it's like a mountain where you would have your camp, and you would rest, and then you would plan the trajectory, or how you're going to move forward. And there's always opportunity. There's always a chance for you to think differently about your life. So as you grow older, you develop different skill sets or different interests. You mature in the knowledge that you accumulate over your life. And I always think everybody has something to offer. You should never think of yourself as, oh, I'm only a housewife, or I'm only a teacher, or I'm retired now. Just think of what that knowledge that you've accumulated over your life could mean for other people. And I think we need to make more time to sit down and reflect and think about what is important for us, and what do we want to achieve, and what is the difference that you want to make in the world. And I guess as you get older, that part becomes quite important. What's the footsteps that you want to leave behind you? Even if your children are older, you can still be a parent and still contribute towards their lives. And I think especially when you're younger, and if you think of parenthood. I just posted something on one of my Instagram accounts, going through my photographs, and I found this photograph of my father who passed away, and it made me think about parenting, because it's one area that I work on a lot. And we don't realize the influence that we have. So as a human being, in this reinvention journey, you always have to sit back and say, okay, so within my sphere of influence, what difference am I making? What are people learning from me? How could I share my learning, or my skills, or my insights? And also, what behaviors do I have that maybe are not that positive, and maybe that I really need to sit back and change, whether it's your health, whether it's your ability to stimulate your mind and grow your brain, rather than letting it sort of deteriorate over time. So this is the quote that I thought was so beautiful. Today is the womb through which the future will emerge. We sow seeds for our children's tomorrow by our actions today. In the grand scheme of the universe unfolding, no act goes without consequence. Everything we do makes a difference when we parent in a conscious way. The ripple effect of our parenting will expand beyond our children. It will touch every person they come into contact with. It will impact on their children and their children's children. And I think in this reinvention question that you asked me, we forget that our children see themselves, the mirror of their lives is you. I mean, they if you are in a career that you're unhappy with, and that's the model that you are showing them, because whether it's conscious or subconscious, they will sense that unhappiness. Whether you feel unfulfilled as a woman or as a man, whether you feel that your life, the skills or the things you wanted to achieve in your life, you never could. You are the blocker. You are the one that has to make that conscious choice to say, well, I've got to stop and I've got to think, how can my life go in another journey? Whether it is um, stepping out of a relationship that makes you so unhappy, whether it is a job where you feel so frustrated, or whether it is that you are not working and you feel that you can contribute. So I gave you a very long-winded answer to your question, Andrea, but it is always possible to reinvent and change your life. It's just that you are the one that has to be conscious about that thing and say, well, put in the work. It's not going to happen automatically. It's not going to come knocking at your door. You've got to make that difference.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and thank you for the sharing. It's something that we look forward to, like being parents and then being a good role model, right, for the next generation. That's something that we work on constantly. It cannot be 100% perfect, but of course we can just strive for something that makes the future a little bit bearable and better for the next generations. And here we are ending up at the topic that I wanted to ask you about, because this morning I was playing the Inspired Youth Summit, and the kids there were sharing about their coping mechanism, and I got many good comments like, thank you very much for sharing these ideas, and the tools that the kids are sharing were also helpful for other generations. So what inspired you to create this forum and invite all these kids from all over the world to share their coping mechanism and how they were dealing?
It started last year, actually, Andrea, when I started the Inspired conference, or the whole Inspired idea, theme of bringing together people from across the world to share their knowledge and insight. So last year we had the Inspired conference with 34 speakers from different countries who were talking about financial matters and planning and business and education. And I always believe that young people have a voice and they have a lot of insight, and we have to bring them to the table if we want to make decisions about the future. So it's like it was very important for me to give them the opportunity to voice what they were feeling, especially with the COVID crisis. We saw the rise in teenage suicide over the past few months so much, and the frustrations and the things that they are struggling with when that normal time where when for a teenager, their brains have a rapid development in the limbic system, or the emotional centers of the brain. They need that contact with people. They need affirmation that they get from their classmates and from being with others. And you can imagine them sitting alone in their room, not having that usual outlet, or getting out of the house and away from the parents. Some are in very abusive situations at their homes and they can't escape it. So I was just thinking, how are they coping? What is important for them? I work in education. We develop these plans and these programs, but we need to involve them. And that is why I thought to bring them together. And it was just amazing to see what these kids are achieving. There are some of them that have their own foundations at 16. They know which UN sustainability goals they are supporting. They know what's the difference they want to make in the future. They want a voice in their own education. They want a voice in deciding what learning should be and learning should look like. Because we know that the schooling system today is just not keeping up with what the demands of the future. The curriculum, in so many cases, it's so not relevant to them anymore. And it moves so slowly. So that was the reason why I got them, and it was just amazing. We had kids from 30 different countries, and we plan to continue with this next year because a lot of them were invited to after the summit to invite to participate in other forums, and I really want to encourage young people to take action and form groups or collaborate and talk to kids from across the world, because that was also very interesting to see how, even though they were in Germany or in Russia or in Kyrgyzstan or in Tanzania or in Peru or Chile or wherever they were talking from, the same themes emerged. So if you as a young person are feeling this frustration, know that you're not alone. There are so many other people out there who are experiencing the same thing. And what was very interesting to me was the trend that I'm seeing of many young people moving away from social media. There were quite a number of them who said, well, sorry, I don't have a Facebook account anymore. I don't have Instagram. I don't have TikTok. I just want to step away from social media because it's not healthy. And that was quite interesting. Very, very interesting to me.
That's interesting. And the diversity that you brought to the table, that these guys were from all over the world, that's also something very beautiful. It reminds me the Seed, Pray, Love book when it starts at the beginning, when they were meeting with refugees, and the refugees should be, thinking about all the problems of life and what they're
Yes.
struggling with. And they were still just thinking about relationships and whether that some guys love them. And it always comes back to the same thing, that people are having basic problems most of the time, like similar problems, similar struggles, and it's not so difficult at the end. The thing is that we just have to see them as humans and as diverse as they are, and then embrace them as they are. It's just so different in a way, because all the kids were from different countries, as you said, from all over the world. But at the end, the thoughts, what they shared, the problems that they were facing, it was exactly the same. It was so inspiring.
It's I think that is one thing. It helps you to see that you're not alone, but on the other side, it also provides you an opportunity to develop empathy, because as you mentioned, some kids are just worried about how many likes they get on some other senseless TikTok video, and that's how they value their worth, is the number of likes or the number of shares or the number of followers. But as some of those kids were saying, it's just empty. Maybe you should focus more on helping others, or being there as or ways in which you can overcome your problems. And I think that many young people are not aware of the struggles of that some people have. As you were talking about refugees, I support this group in Lebanon, and Urda is a NGO that's working with the refugees from Syria, and the suffering of these people that are not wondering about what outfit I'm going to wear, or what nail polish should I buy, or how many likes I get. They struggle to think, where am I going to get food tomorrow? And there's no end to the suffering for them. So I think if we can develop more empathy, and have a social emotional learning program in all schools, where that is focused on teaching young people to develop emotional literacy and to become more emotionally intelligent, that has proven to be a real determinator of their life success. So the more emotionally intelligent you are, the better you will perform academically, the better you will perform in your job, the better you will have relationships for the rest of your life. And I think that part is not really it doesn't get enough attention. We have to equip our young people with those tools to help them face the problems and overcome the problems in life. And that comes back to the reinventing your life, because the reinventing your life is not because you do it on a whim. You do it because you have a problem, or you have something that you want to overcome, or you feel dissatisfied with your life. So, but you don't get stuck in that, because you when you are emotionally aware, and if you are emotionally literate and you are aware of the patterns of your behavior, and you know how to identify what you are feeling and thinking of how can you move through that feeling, because feelings, it's signals, it's information. It's not wrong to be sad, it's not wrong to be angry, it's not wrong to be depressed, but it's wrong to get stuck in that emotional state. So, and I think that is what young people, the younger they are, the better. You should start with these programs when they are very, 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 very little. Our ThinkWise program, for example, that we do with that teaches kids thinking structures, we start with feelings, and we embed emotional literacy in the program from as little as 4. So and here's a challenge to the viewers. There are 4,000 words in the English language to describe emotions. How many do you know? And the more specific you can get, the more you're able to manage that emotion and use that information in this journey of your life, whether it is reinvention, whether it's expansion, whether it's growth in a particular area. But always know that emotions are valuable signals, and we shouldn't suppress them. We shouldn't think it's weakness. It's just that you are reflective, you are metacognitive, you are thinking about your thinking, and you're using that information to move forward with your life. So that is really, at the end of the day, why we involved those young people in this conversation. And we're definitely going to do another 2 conferences next year, one again with youth and one again with adults in the field. So, but we could talk about that, Andrea, and see how we can collaborate.
Yes, I'm always looking forward to your ideas. They are amazing, and I know that you have so many things in this field, experience behind you, all the things that you designed, and all the things that you are helping with educators all around the world with your team. So I'm really, really happy to have you on board this year again at the Global Empowerment Summit, and help you to spread the words about the inspired also, because it's also something very beautiful. So at the end of the conversation, because I see Samita is already coming up here, what's next for you in this beautiful French journey, your French adventure?
So the next thing for me is, we're planning quite a few things. So we are opening an art gallery. Um, my house is really, really big, so we have a huge space with a front on the main road. And I've already put in artworks by a South African artist, Leoda Conrad. She is brilliant. She's was recognized as one of the 12 artists to watch in South Africa, and she's actually also moved to France. It seems to be a new thing. A lot of people are moving here, and if you want to learn more about how to go about it, you're welcome to contact me. I think I now have not all the answers, but a lot of answers. So it's getting the gallery online, and we have beautiful artworks, and we're also going to exhibit artworks of local artists here in France. And then my B&B, it's going to be called Chazelle, L for Elmery, my place, Chazelle. And I'm going to do like this amazing themed rooms. One will be like a Frida Kahlo suite. It's going to have suites, and downstairs I will have a little coffee shop with things for sale. And then of course my consultancy. I'm registering a consultancy where I will be supporting companies and individuals with education programs, with emotional intelligence development, and measurement of and support for companies and for teams. And so that's the 3 sort of big things ahead of me, Andrea, over the next few. Yeah, so I'm new here, right? So I have to establish contacts and start sort of getting my feelers into doing work here in Europe.
Beautiful plans, like you never stop. You went there to relax and to restart, but I see you going back and doing a lot of things already for so many people. Thank you very much, Elmery, for giving us a little bit of update, and I'm looking forward to hear more. I will keep the people updated about your French adventure, and I would be so happy to introduce Chazelle when it's ready and to show around. If we can do that, I will make
Oh,
it
that will be
definitely.
lovely. I would really enjoy that just to give people the experience of a lifetime. Thank you so much, Andrea, for inviting me. It was lovely.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this conversation, and have a beautiful day in France. And then see you very, very soon with another conversation.
Thank you, and goodbye to everybody.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
श्रीवर्चस्वमायुष्यम् आरोग्यम् आविदाक्षम् मानं महीयते धनं धान्यं पशुं बहु कीर्तिलाभं बहु धनलाभं शतसंवत्सरं दीर्घमायुः.
Honestly, I felt inspired and motivated after reading The Journey of Perseverance. This is certainly a book worth reading. Congratulations, Priya. You did an amazing job.
Hi, I'm Lavanya. The book Journey of Perseverance is highly motivating and inspiring. It gave me a clear picture about what success looks like. Congratulations, Priya ma'am, and thank you for a great book.
I can't hear you.
So I'm here with Samita, someone who I adore for so long. She was here in the studio for a longer time, and after this advertisement from our sponsors, I brought her up. So how are you, Samita? How was your day?
I'm good. Well, super busy, but I really enjoyed what Elmery just shared. And and I definitely want to connect with her. So I'm going to look up Elmery on LinkedIn, and then it'll be nice to chat up with her. I really
Yes.
like what she's doing. It's amazing.
We can all visit her and meet her at Chazelle, at her new bread and breakfast place in France. That would be nice.
Yeah. How was
No,
your day?
it was good. It was good. So I was here with our audience there and back with lunchtime and dinner time. And soon we will have more coming up. A workshop is coming, and then we have a panel discussion with women in tech. So I'm still looking forward to it. It's already the 5th week. So it's really busy here on my side.
You're
So
wearing same color.
Yes, I think we dress together. Yes, exactly. So Samita, tell us a little bit about yourself because I know you a little bit more than the audience. So who is Samita? What are you doing? And tell us a little bit more about your personality.
Savita is a human. I'm just someone who's very passionate about human beings, about their behavior, And currently I'm pursuing my PhD, which is related with game-based learning. I'm looking at it from the perspective of organizational behavior. Organizational behavior is my favorite subject. And I was passionate about this subject 10 years ago, but it's just that I never had the time to practice it. And over the years, I found that there's a new generation coming up, which is Gen Z. In fact, they're already at the workspace and they are facing challenges. It's not only Gen Z who's facing challenges, but the other generations are facing challenges with them as well. So I thought this is a good opportunity to invest my time into my PhD, to do a research about it and see what emerges. So I'm very curious.
And I really love your topic, which is about the youth employees, young employees. So this is why I was inviting you today, because our summit today is also about the young and the wise and how can they be both together, and how it's difficult for some young people to get on the employment in a different kind of world of employment after school, and also for the elder generation, how they can not be too experienced and always get the nose at the different interviews. So Samita, from which perspective are you checking the youth employment? What is your focus, and what would you like to describe with your study?
So what I'm doing is effectiveness of game-based learning in improving soft skills for Gen Z. So I'm focusing only on Gen Z who are employed, because it's very important to keep them employed so that they don't resign and leave and become jobless, and then there'll be a huge pool of unemployed people. So it's very important that they stay in their jobs. If they have another job, it's good, but too much of job hopping might not be too good as well. So that's what I'm focusing on.
I really love the part that you want them to be prepared and not jump, because I believe that today in this instant gratification world, it's really easy to make them go away, even with a wrong comment, even with something that you just do, but you didn't even know that you heard them, and then they are getting back into their cocoon. So what was your experience? What was your research result that you got after working on this topic?
I'm still new on this topic, but I think it's very important for us first to understand each generation. So we can start with the traditionalist generation. These are people who are like our grandparents' age or great-grandparents' age. Mm-hmm. So they are super different. They are very, very loyal, and they are very disciplined people. And then came the baby boomers. So baby boomers, they are very responsible and they have strong work ethics. But let's remember, baby boomers and traditionalists, they did not have mobile phones, right? Mobile phones came baby boomers when baby boomers were like in the 40s, around that age. They did not have Wi-Fi. They did not grow up with Wi-Fi. So they didn't have knowledge at their fingertips. They had to learn through the difficult way. They might have bosses who might just throw files on their face, right? Because they didn't know any better on how to protect themselves. They thought that this is how things are. Then came Generation X, very independent thinkers and very efficient. So their parents are baby boomers. So Generation X, we got our internet during our late teens. So we know what life is without Wi-Fi. And we had this internet where we had to connect with cables, and then that sound go ting, right? We had that amount of patience. And we are able to see the difference, right? I can switch off my phone. I don't need to connect to the world. I'm still fine. Comes Generation Y. They are more sociable, they're very confident, and they're less dependent. Their parents are actually either baby boomers or Generation X. The way they were raised is different. They are not there because their parents are not traditionalists. Then comes Generation Z. These people are born with Wi-Fi. These are the I generation. They have iPhones, they have iPads, they have tablets. If you remember 20 years ago, if you walk into any restaurants, parents would actually have their mobile phone and switch on play YouTubes for them when they were still children. And they are able to get information within their fingertips. So they are very knowledgeable, actually. They have knowledge because they know that if I Google right now, I can learn anything that I want. I can learn anything that I want from the YouTube. What they don't have is skills. They even know what's going on in another country. So they start comparing, why is this organization not giving me the benefits that another country gives to their employees over there? So these are the questions that they are raising up. They want to have jobs that is purpose-driven. They need to know why they are doing it. They want to know what is their organization doing for the community outside. If the organization is not creating an impact outside, how can the organization create an impact for me? They don't want to work beyond 5 o'clock. They want to have work-life balance. This is something that Generation Y and X have been talking about. Generation Z is actually doing it. They are fighting for it. They want it, and if they don't get it, they start hopping. And they're not hopping jobs because of salary. They're hopping jobs because they want a sense of belonging, which they are not getting. And I think these are the things that organizations should understand. And I completely agree with Elmery. It's not only a situation that's happening in schools where you have old syllabus. So whatever the organizations, I wouldn't say all, but I think there are a handful of them. The way you manage your Gen Y and Gen X is totally different. And you need to come up with new strategies on how you are going to manage your Generation Z. You cannot change Generation Z to become a Generation Y or Generation X because we as human, we are evolving. Alpha generation is going to be totally different. Can we still hire the same way? Are we going to still keep our employees and retain our employees the same way? It has to change. We have to change, actually.
I love your passion, and I believe when this research will be ready, then you will be such a big information base for all the companies out there, because they are searching right now for this information. They just don't know that they have to call Sameta because she will have it soon. I really love the research.
I'm actually looking forward to work with organizations where I can work hand in hand with the HRs. That's why I'm talking about my research and hoping that there are HRs out there who would resonate with this problem that they are facing, and we could work hand in hand so that there is a gap between academia and industry. I don't want this research to be something which is so academic and it's going to be on a bookshelf, or it's just going to be published in journals and that's it, right? My vision is that it should be used in industry. That's why I prefer it. I prefer to work within industry to see actually what are the challenges and how this can be addressed. If you're going to hire a consultant, you have to pay so much of money. If you hire me, I'm just a PhD research student. You get it for free, so why not, right?
So everyone who is watching and would like to collaborate with Sameta to make this research practical, life-based research, then please reach out to Sameta Sparks on LinkedIn. You will find her, and maybe we get a lot of collaboration requests right now because everyone is interested in the generations. So Sameta, what other things are you focusing on? I know that you're working on so many things. Last year, you were introducing some cards that you were developing for helping coaches and helping helping facilitating through a coaching session. So what's going on in your life? What are the things that you are still working on?
I still facilitate workshops whenever I get the opportunity, and mostly I get called for workshops which are based on social impact. That's another area that I have a very soft spot for. But normally what I see, people who are into social impact, they tend to depend too much on CSR budgets. They tend to depend too much on grants. So you cannot make a business sustainable if you are heavily invested in grants or heavily invested in CSR budget. So that's what I normally tell them, that you need to find a way to be independent and make your business profitable. You cannot always tell that same sad story over and over again and hope that someone is going to feel sorry for you and give you donations or something like that. So that's another area that I look at, and I normally facilitate those kinds of sessions. But it's not very easy to talk to people who are so passionate about social impact and who are so focused on just getting into the CSR budget. So another thing that I always tell them is look at it. There's so many NGOs, and now you are a social entrepreneur. If you too going to queue up in front of an organization, waiting for a CSR budget to be approved because you have your own story to tell, no one is going to support you, right? Because especially now, where organizations are cutting down their budgets, do they actually have budgets for you? So this is another area that I always talk with social entrepreneurs to really, really think about it, to be more independent, because there are some very successful social entrepreneurs who have the right business model, who are not dependent on CSR budgets or grants. So that's one area. The other area that I look at is on emotional well-being. I do private sessions for my clients, and we talk about Generation Z having problems. Look at Generation X and Y. Their problems are far much more serious, right? So yeah, that's why I feel that before we talk about any generation, it's very important for us to look at ourselves first, and instead of pointing the blame, which generation has done this, let's be more inclusive, bring in diversity, and see how we can support Gen Z, and not always being this person who is trying to correct someone. It becomes a turn off, actually.
I love your perspective because it's just so it's so beautiful that finally you said it out loud, that it's not really the problem of any of the generation. It's kind of like the situation which brought the thing with itself, like how digital world improved, how it changed, how different generations behave, and how it created a gap by itself just by separating people by tech saviness or kind of like access to technology, and the upbringing which was totally different. And I believe you will be on the same note, that it's happening ever since humankind is here. It's just a new evolution. It's just something totally new, and we are just at the stage when it's really a big change compared to everything else before, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we are at a very nice sweet spot to actually witness the transition happening, where Gen Z is actually entering the workforce. And we have 3 generations in the workforce, which is the X, the Y, and the Z. We still have some baby boomers left. And to see actually 4 generations, and how these 4 generations are actually going to get along with one another in an organization. Because they all 4 are completely different. So there is an intergenerational gap that is going on, which needs to be addressed.
But I love the opportunity here, because 4 different generations has 4 different perspectives, which brings diverse pictures. And then the idea, like all researchers ask them, the more diverse it is, the ideas and the creativity is just sparkling so much more, right?
Exactly. And imagine if we put a certain generation under so much of stress, telling them that whatever they're doing is wrong, right? You're killing off the creativity. It's just like back to school, where the teacher is saying, this is how you're supposed to behave. This is how you're supposed to do. If you do this, this is absolutely wrong. There's no creativity in school, right? Because there's so much of pressure, there's so much of stress, because whatever you do or whatever you say is always wrong. So we don't want to bring this school method, which I call it the behavioral theory, into an organization. We need to have people able to express their thoughts, say like, okay, I don't understand why these guidelines are in this organization. Is it okay to change it? Because I think in this perspective that we can actually cut down our time to like 3 hours to actually accomplish a certain project. Why not test it out? Why not be someone who's more experimental, who's able to accept ideas from Gen Z? Because this is the generation that is going to bring changes into organization. I can already imagine a future where we don't have like full-time employment. We might just have like all jobs are just gig jobs, which is actually good for the organization. You don't need to pay for their healthcare anymore. You don't need to pay for any overtime. you don't need to even pay for any other benefits. Isn't that better? So why not just use these ideas that Gen Z is presenting to you and see how your business can evolve along with these creative ideas? And probably you could use the extra money that you have to create more impact to the society. So you never know how things are going to evolve. So I believe that if Gen Z is asking like questions to the organization, just have the patience to hear them out and see what can change, because change is happening. Look at what COVID-19 has done to us, where accountants and auditors never thought that they can actually work from home are now working from home, because we are being forced to change.
That's a strong force, right? It's just always humanity has this own barrier, like not trying to go out of this box that we create for ourselves, but trying to stay in the box, and then nothing is changing, and we believe that we cannot change. It's such an interesting, inspiring. I think we are the people who see this whole situation a bit more inspiring than everyone else around us, because we are studying and we are living from this inspiration, what is going on in the world and how humanity and people are changing in a situation like this. It's kind of like a living experiment for everyone, because no one knew before. This is something totally new that no one experienced before. So it's bringing up so much in thoughts, in inspiration, in ideas, in opportunities, if you really look at it from the right side, and you don't let the situation grab you down. Symphony is saying that whatever generation, they need to learn respect. Yes, it's true. So we need to respect each other, the environment, and each other, and the society, and everything around us. That's something that is a general message here. I already have in mind 3 people that I have to connect you with. So I will do that very quickly after this call, so that you get something to your research. And on the last note, before we close up, because I have to open soon the workshop room with Navish about course creation. So what would be your message to the young and the wise, so that they can be both together?
Well, I would like to end this by saying that not everyone is perfect. Gen Z definitely have problems with soft skills. Their communication skills are not that great, but they are very good in technology. So I think there's a knowledge transfer that can happen, where the older generation can give them really, really good advice on how to be more emotionally intelligent and socially intelligent. And the older generation can learn about that tech savviness from the younger generation. So there is definitely a knowledge transfer that can happen, and it should happen.
Thank you very much. Let's
Thank
go for knowledge
you.
transfer between the different generations. Let's power it up. Thank you very much, Samita. Have a beautiful evening. Hope you can rest a little bit. And then we see each other very, very soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.